Hi, welcome to my channel, Gigi's Altered Objects. We are going to start on part 2 of our interactive mini album using Graphic 45's Life is a Kaleidoscope paper collection. Today, we're going to, so far what we've done is we have put the book skeleton together. We added the bones of the pages, and each one has a pull-out pocket place on the edge, and then it's attached to the spine on the bottom. So today what we're going to do is we're going to plan the page for the cover and page 1. I'm not going to actually adhere the cover page yet. I like to do that last. In the past, I have set aside the things that I was going to use and accidentally used them during the book and had to come up with a new plan. So I'm going to actually make the pages so that I can't accidentally use the bits and parts, okay? So each of the black pages is 6.5 inches. So the color pieces that we're going to build will be 6 by 6. And the black piece that will adhere to this will be 6.5 by 6.5. I like there to be a little outline around the outside. Okay, set this aside. For the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you today how to do this 2 ways and the reason to do it 2 different ways. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to create the hinges for the decorative pages. So what I have is 2 black pieces of cardstock that are cut 6.5 by 6.5 inches. Then I cut a piece of 1-inch paper and I scored it on the 1/2 inch line and folded it and creased it with the bone folder. And this is going to be the hinge for the 2 pages. So as we did before, I'm going to use 2 types of glue. I'm going to put some of the 2-sided scoring tape here and smooth it down. And for this, I'm going to use some good, strong, fast-drying liquid glue. This is a hinge, which means it will be used, so I want to be sure that the glue is quite strong. And then I'm going to place the first piece on top of the hinge, like that. And then we're going to open it up. And put another piece of scoring tape on the top portion. Smooth it with the bone folder. Add liquid glue. I try to put dots of liquid glue both above and below the tape so that it stays nice and secure. Okay, and then we will put the bottom piece. Now, when I'm doing pages that are going to close up and down, I don't always use a magnet. It seems that gravity can do that work for me. So I won't be using, we'll be using magnets, but I won't be using a magnet to close this portion like this at the bottom. Okay? All right, so next time I'm going to show you another way that you can get a little more out of your paper when you have to cut 6.5 by 6.5. But it won't work on this particular one because of the design that I'm going to create. All right, on the front, we're going to do a waterfall. And I'm thinking that I might need to plan for the magnet I'm using on the back. No, I don't. I can do that later. Okay. All right, so I've measured a piece of lace. I'm using a black piece of lace. And that's what I'm going to close the waterfall with. So I'll leave that right here and explain the actual waterfall itself. The pieces that I am using are 4 inches by 4.5 inches, and then they're scored at the 1/2 inch line. So I'm just going to put it on my scoring board, and it's 4.5 inches. So right here at the 4, I know is 1/2 inches. So I will score it. Telling me when I'm on camera, the weirdest things happen. All right, and then fold it over and crease it with my bone folder. So you're going to do that to each of your pages. I'm using 5 of them, and that is up to you how many you want to do. I do like to use odd numbers. This paper comes from the Tim Holtz metallic jewels collection. I mentioned that in the last video. The colors go so wonderfully with this Kaleidoscope. Your Life is a Kaleidoscope collection. All right, so again, 1/2 inches will be at the 4. And smooth it with my bone folder. All right, so I have a total of 5 of these 4 by 4.5 inch papers, and they're all scored with a 1/2 inch flap kind of laying over. Right now, we're going to adhere these to our paper, and all you're going to do is, once you have the first one down, you're going to decide what colors, how you want your colors to go, and you're going to put them right up against each other. So this is where my first one will go, and then where the fold is, the second one is going to go right against it, like that. All right, so use a little scoring tape. And I always save the little leftover pieces when I'm cutting. So this is an 8 by 8 pad, and I was able to use some dies, some die cuts of tags out of the extra paper. And I'll show you about that in a little bit. All right, so once you get your first one down, it's really hard to go wrong after you do that part. So I'm going to go green, pink, and then the aqua and start again. So now that my green one is down, I'm going to do the same thing on this fold. I'm going to put my score tape. And then some good wet glue. And on the inside of these, you could put matting if you wanted. I don't know who's going to get this particular book. It will be for sale. So I don't know if they would prefer journaling or photos. So I often just leave it blank. This way they can do whatever they want on it. If it was a design, I may cover it up so that it would be a little more usable. All right, so far in our waterfall, we have a blue, a green, and a pink. This one I don't like the way it lined up.
Somebody is screaming up. You trying to get your mama's attention.
Somebody is trying to get my attention downstairs. sometimes you just have to play with it a little. All right, so now the aqua one is going to go next. I think part of it is that I'm kind of working upside down, and I have to get used to that. And that's the end of that tape. So this time, let me look. There we go. I still don't like the way this top one is, but that's something I can work on. All right, then to complete the pattern, I'll go back to the pink and end with the green, like that. Or you could go green and then pink, whatever your preference is. And the last one. I haven't decided if I'm going to put a design on the top one or not. The ribbon is going to do a lot to decorate it. And my new tape is not working as good, of course. This only happens when I'm on camera. But we'll give it a little clip and let it dry while we tie the ribbon on. Okay. Well, this is a good time for a tip. Somehow I smudged a little glue right here. If you don't have one of these wonderful magical erasers, you definitely need to get one. It will quickly and easily remove the glue. You can always use a little baby wipe to get the smudges off too. All right, so now what we have to do is adhere the ribbon. So what I'm gonna do is I decide I want the scalloped edge out like this. So I've already measured it to make sure that it will tie, leaving as much as I want. And again, that's your choice of I guess I don't need to cut that. So I'm going to do a little test run here.
Yeah.
Hear Mr. Theodore down there? Make sure it's even. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is put a little piece of tape on this to make sure it's just exactly where I want it, so I can redo if I need to. So let's give it a tie. And you can also do it from top to bottom if you prefer. And you can also make your waterfall sideways as well. I'll have to do that one day. All right, so I like the way the ribbon looks. I'm going to use a different kind of glue for this. When I use material, I like to use this Craft Medley Premium Craft Glue. It says it's machine washable, and that way I know that it does well with material. So I'm going to put a few dots of that
So, over there.
on the back. And I'm not going to adhere this yet to the black frame, just to make sure that I don't move it around too much. But what I am going to do is I like to put something that acts as a little knob or door opener on each of the pages. So I have these little meadow flowers. Yeah, I was afraid of that. They're going to be a little too big. So I have a plan B. I'm going to use one of them there, topped with a little aqua flower. I think that'll work. And then we'll just put the aqua flowers on the others. So for this, I'm going to use E6000. This might be easier to do with a toothpick, so I'm out of the teeny tiny jars of E6000. But whenever I'm gluing plastic or metals, this is a sure way to know that it'll permanently adhere. And later I may decide to put a title on this page. I'm just not sure yet. I don't want it to be too busy. All right, so when this is dry, that is what's going to be on the top page that we have hinged together. That's going to open up like this. So that will be on the outside top page, but we're going to set it aside and let it dry and work on the inside pages. All right, so on the top, we're going to have, let's see, the magnet. So what I have here, this is from the 12 by 12 paper, and again it's cut 6 by 6. This is a piece from the chipboard. It says Imagination, and here is some of the leftover paper of the metallic. So I'm going to mount the chipboard on the metallic paper, but first I'm going to put a magnet or two on the inside. So the chipboard's a little heavy. I think I'm going to use 2 magnets, and I'm going to use little dabs of E6000 to glue them down, and then I'll put the backing on it. Well, that was supposed to be a little dab. How'd that work out? Not too good, huh? My favorite magnets I get from a company called the Tall Mouse. He's usually at the scrapbook conventions, but he also has an online store. All right, and then, actually, since this is shiny, I think I'll use the glossy accents. Sometimes when I use vellum or glittery paper or very shiny paper, it needs a little extra special type of glue. Sometimes the regular wet glue won't stick very well. So just to be sure, we have a little E6000 on there and our little glossy accents. Okay, so we're going to adhere that with the magnets on it to this beautiful piece of metallic paper. And I'll put a couple clips on it. While it dries. Okay, we'll also have to put the magnets it's going to stick to on the back of this paper, but we're going to let it dry for just a minute. And this paper is also going to have a pocket on the bottom. So we'll build the pocket and then I'll adhere it. So we'll use, this is a strip that comes from the 8.5 by 8.5. So those papers are exactly like the 12 by 12s, but in a smaller form. So there's a larger one if you wanted to use it. It's a little thicker from the other paper, from the 12 by 12. I did a little fussy cutting before I even started. I looked at the 8 by 8 and pulled out one sheet of each one that I thought was extremely interesting, that I knew I was going to want to use pieces from. And so that is one way you can begin. I always try to plan out what colors I'm going to do before I ever get started. It just helps me, my brain stay a little more organized, so I don't accidentally use something and then wish that I still had it. All right, so when you close the book, it's actually going to look like this. And the pocket will be here, and the imagination will go here. So to create the pocket, and we can just use this great wet glue right now, since it's not shiny on that side. So all I'm going to do for my pocket, and this is 1.5 inches, and then by 6 inches it matches the colored paper. And I'm just going to put a little glue on the sides and bottom, leave the top open. It's always good to have a baby wipe handy. Okay. And I'm going to make sure that this is smoothed down all the way around. So somehow my camera turned off, sorry about that. But all we did to find out where to put the magnets on the imagination is I put it even, and I put a couple clips on it to make sure that it was going to stay where I wanted it. Flipped it over, dropped the two magnets where they wanted to be. It was good to use two magnets on this because the chipboard is rather thick, and if you only use one, sometimes it gets kittywampus like that too. All right, so This is one of the things that I fussy cut. It was one of those smaller cards, and I cut inside with the X-Acto knife so I could use the other part for a frame. We're going to use that later. I don't know what I did with my wipe, but now I have ink on my fingers. Oh well. But because I did cut it from the cards, you can see that the outsides are kind of white. So I'm going to go along with a permanent marker. You could also ink them. Graphic 45 has some pretty inks. You could use any of your favorites or just black. But I just want to cover up the white on that one. So to put in the pocket, we're going to make a little foldable with some pockets inside of it. So we're going to adhere the Find Joy in the Journey with a few dots of our wet glue and place it right in the middle. This is going to be one of the items that goes in the pocket. All right, and then we're going to create some little pockets in here. We're going to put one along the bottom, like this. And this too is from the 8.5 by 8.5 pack. Put a little pocket there. And another one on the side here. And these are some of the little tags that I used the die cut to cut out from the extra paper that I had left over from the waterfall. So I'm going to add some string, and this is just embroidery string that I had in my stash, and I don't embroider much anymore, but I do like to use it on my tags. I want one more, let's see. I want a small pink one. Here we go. Pinkish purple. I still managed to lose one, no biggie. I like to, if it'll work for me, put a hoop through the little hole. Sometimes the hole's not big enough, and if I'm using lace, I use my crocodile to create a bigger hole. One more time. All right, a loop through, and then tuck the two pieces back through the loop. And no. I guess I should have left myself more to work with. All right, I am going to say forget that one. It needs to be longer. So sorry about that. You can bet that whatever can possibly go wrong when you're trying to do this, there's no camera, it works first time. But when you want to be speedy and efficient, it's not going to. All right. Now if my loop will open nicely for me, I can get these two pieces through there. There we go. Better to have them long and then trim them later. Tuck him in the little pocket. And we'll do a small one. These holes are a little smaller, so we're just going to tie it on this one. Poke it right through. And just give it a little tie. Maybe tie it twice. Go. I have E6000 hanging off of my fingers. And then I'm going to do the opposite on the other side. And do a large aqua and a small pink. And this time I'll leave my string a little bigger. Yeah, better luck. Okay, poke it through the hole. Loop. There we go. Little trim and tuck that in the side pocket. Okay. And one more.
Bird out, Rowdy. I'll let the bird out.
We'll just tie that one.
What just happened?
This is the ball of the referee. This happens so many times throughout the season. I'm not sure how we ended up there. We do have alternates. We have 4 alternates. There in your picture, we got 3 of them. Alternates.
All right. Now we have our little foldable with pockets and some little tags inside of it. And we're going to pop that inside our pocket here. And then the imagination will go over it, helping to hold it in place. All right, so this is going to be one of the inside pages. So we have the top page done with the little flowers, waterfall. And then this one with the pocket and the magnet. So we have one more to go. This time I have, of course, 6x6. And we're going to create another pocket on this one. So we'll use the glossy accents. Again, we're just going to put a little glue along the bottom and the side. And we have another piece of trim that is from the 8.5 by 8.5. And this is just for decoration. On the other side, we're actually going to use one as a double pocket, but this time it's just going to be a decoration. So you can see there's a lot of elephants in the theme of this one I'm doing. I decided it would be kind of multicolored along with the elephants. Okay, and then, let's see, hear my doggy. Along the top, these flags are from the sticker, and I just put them on some black paper with a 1/2 inch score to glue them on the thread like this. So that's what we'll do first. Decide some spacing on them. And then I'm going to open it up, put a little glossy accents, and lay the embroidery thread down, close it up. I don't want these actually glued to the paper. I only want them glued to the string. All right, and then we'll do this one so that it's even on each side. Little glossy accents. Measure. There we go. And then this one right in the middle. Looks like those are going to want a clip to help them dry. They'll move around on us. And this one in its pocket is going to have a little foldable, says a rainbow of possibilities, and we're not going to glue the whole thing down. We're going to glue the top and bottom so that it has a pocket here as well. Then inside you could journal with some gel pens, or you could adhere photos. There we go. All right, and there are a lot of leftover tags that we can pop in some different places. I think I'll put a couple in here. We'll go with a green and a pink on that side. And then we can put another green. Maybe we'll do the blue and the pink. I may decide to put some lace or ribbon through these, but for time I'm not going to do that right now, but I will show you after I get it done. I'm going to pop this in here, and then trying to decide what I want to use. I think I am going to adhere this with some brads. So I'm going to find some brads and come right back and do that. Okay, so this is what we have finished. I went ahead and adhered it all on. There's our page with the waterfall. I included a sticker for a title. It says, "Life is a kaleidoscope of color." I hope you can see that. And then when you open it up, here we have the imagination page and the little foldable we made that has pockets in it. And I may add another I may add another tag there too. And the imagination helps keep that in, because when it folds down, it's upside down, but it won't come out. And then on the bottom, I added some ribbon to the tag and a little filigree. And then here we have the foldable that has the pocket and top. I added some ribbon to those little tags, tucked them in there. And then I put brads before I adhered it down, and then wrapped the ribbon around the brad and put a little dot of, and it came loose anyway, let me get it right in there. There we go. I put a little dot of the glossy accents to hold it in there, and it will do just fine when it dries. So this video turned longer than I expected, so we only got the part, and I'm not going to put this on because I can't do it until I have the outside cover on. So this is the first page of the book, the cover of the page, and next time in part 3 we will design the first page. Okay? Happy crafting!